Everyone, Miss Davis has asked me to talk about everyday life here in the area that I live in. So I'm going to introduce myself. My name is Peyton March. I'm from Donovan, and I am currently living in Glasgow, Scotland, and this is George Square. Walking to Asda, which is the grocery store here. It is owned by Walmart, so whenever you go in there you'll hear save money, live better, Asda, and it's very odd to get used to, but it's still really cool. It's more like a neighborhood market Walmart than an actual Walmart because it's mostly food that's sold here. But yeah, that's where we're heading right now. So, Scotland is the only country in the entire world where Coke is not the top seller. It's actually this called Iron Brew. And to me, it tastes like bubblegum medicine, but people like it here, so. Another thing you have to get used to is remembering to bring a bag whenever you buy stuff, because bags here cost. So now that we've gotten our refreshments, we're actually heading towards City Center, which is where all the shopping is. And the reason why we're walking is because public transport is a little expensive sometimes, especially if you're just getting one way, which isn't possible anymore. You have to get an all-day pass, which is like £4.50. Yeah. And you know, obviously we don't have cars, so that's why we're walking. So, yeah. One of the main reasons why people use public transportation more here in the UK is because whenever you go to get your license, it's actually really hard and really expensive. In order to get your preliminary, which is like your permit, you have to wait until you're like 15, 16, and then after that you have to take a lot of lessons, and that gets really expensive after a while. And then after you take lessons, you take your theory test. After you complete your theory test and pass it, you're allowed to drive in the UK. But like I said, it's very expensive to get that. So that's why a lot of people walk or take public transport or take taxis or bike too. The one thing you do have to get used to in Scotland is that the weather is ever changing. So a minute ago it was super bright and sunny, and now it's sort of raining. That's why you always have to bring an umbrella. Unfortunately, we did not. We're still used to, you know, the weather report, the States and the weather report, you know, this is what's gonna happen. So, but yeah, you always have to be prepared for any kind of weather that's gonna happen in Glasgow. So one of the best places to eat around here is Nando's. I would compare it somewhat to a Buffalo Wild Wings in the sense that everybody goes here, it's the place to hang out, and it's good, fun Portuguese chicken. So like I said earlier, the weather is ever changing, so now it's so bright. But right now we are walking down Buchanan Street, which is the shopping district, and this is where everybody comes to do their shopping. And one of the coolest things that you can see here is a lot of buskers, and you can hear a lot of amazing people doing busking. So now that you've kind of seen what it's like living in a big city like Glasgow and some of the amazing sights that you can see, I'm going to talk about like the everyday things. So whenever I first got here and I went shopping, I noticed how cheap food was. Like, it was super cheap, and it really surprised me. Not that I was complaining, because I always like to make sure I get the best deal out of everything. But it was just very surprising. With that being said, it might be cheap to me, but for people who are actually working, it might be a little expensive. So for example, with the minimum wage, you get paid a certain amount depending on your age. So from ages 16 to 18, you get paid £3. From ages 19 to 21, you get paid $5. And then after age 21, you get paid like $7.40, $7.50, I believe is what they said. So, but that's if you're living at home and you don't really have any bills to pay. But if you're at a higher paying career job, or if you are on your own, you get what's called a living wage. So living wages are calculated by taking bills, and that's like your rent, your water, things like that, and then like all your living expenses, and then food and then also transportation. So they calculate that up, and then they figure out how much you can live by getting that. So that's how they calculate the living wage. So the thing to do if you are living on your own is to rent a flat, or what we would call an apartment. So it really depends on where the flat is located or how big it is. That's how much you would pay rent. And you can get a pretty good size, decent flat fairly cheap. So there's so many other cool things I could tell you about Glasgow and what it's like living here, but unfortunately we don't have that kind of time. So I'm going to leave you with this one really cool fact. Scotland's national animal is a unicorn. Yes, it is a unicorn. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and thanks for watching.